What's up, decoders? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to cover the continual Charlie's Web that continues to come and come and come. And it's right in your face, everyone. It's right in your face every day. The joke is on us. And so I've made my last two live streams. I've connected all the Charleses, Charlottes, Carolina. It's all a form of Charles or Charlie, right? And just to recap really fast here, um, we had the initial everything. This whole thing started in August when the woman was killed on the Charlotte train, right? By a named man DeCarlos. DeCarlos means Charles or Charlotte. Charlotte also is the form of Charles. This happened in Charlotte, again, a guy named Carlos, which is Charles. And then after that, Charlie Kirk, whose name is Charles, he was killed after he was talking about this incident, right? And then the football team from Charlotte fired their public relations employee named Charlie over the Charlie Kirk post, right? And so it all goes back to Charlotte, right? And Charlie and Charles and Charlotte. And even the word Carolina or Carol is a form of Carl or Charles, right? So it's all the same names over and over and over again. But that leads us to the next part, King Charles. Remember, this was all connected to King Charles as well. Well, now Trump, yesterday on the 17th, he met with King Charles. Now, don't forget, King Charles' granddaughter is named Charlotte. Prince William's daughter, his granddaughter. So Trump is meeting with Charles yesterday, right? So here's the next part of the web of Charles and Charlie and Charlotte. And of course, yesterday Prince William was also there. His daughter's name is Charlotte. So you had this meeting yesterday, right? As the Federal Reserve was announcing rate cuts in the United States, right? And Trump's been trying to get the Federal Reserve to cut rates for months. And yesterday, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve, he finally came out and cut rates, interest rates. Well, remember, one of the first people to oppose the Federal Reserve was Charles August Lindbergh, right? So this is one of the first men to oppose the Federal Reserve. His name was Charles, right? So now Trump's meeting with Charles on the day of the rate cut from the Federal Reserve. Well, yesterday also, or in the news the day before that, was the death of Robert Redford, right? And he was in the movie Sneakers, which they hack into the Federal Reserve, right? So Robert Redford died a day before that. This is another piece of the Charles saga. His name was actually Charles, right? So he dies one day before Trump meets with King Charles. And again, this all ties to the Federal Reserve and the money because, first of all, Robert Redford was born in California, like the California Gold Rush. But a lot of people don't know is that very near, let me just look this up for you guys. Very near to where Robert Redford died, there's a Charleston, Utah. And so right here is Charleston, Utah. And here is Sundance. This is where Robert Redford died, on the 16th. And here's Charleston, Utah, right? Well, here's where, Robert Redford died. And then here, just south of Windsor, which is the king's last name, Windsor, just south of that, you have the death of Charlie Kirk. So Charles dies, and then Charles dies here, and then just north of that, you have Charleston. And notice the road that runs through Charleston, 189. Well, today is the date 18/9. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But here you have the other Charleston connection right here in Utah. Well, there's a Charleston, South Carolina, right? But I already told you that Carolina is a form of Charles, and so is Charlotte and Charleston. So you have all this Charles stuff in the Carolinas, which is literally, the state is even connected to Charles because Carolina means Charles. And Trump's meeting with Charles, whose granddaughter is named Charlotte, right? Charlie Kirk died near not far from Charleston, Utah, and not far from where Charles Robert Redford died the other day. Well, so what a lot of people don't know is how this connects back to gold. Remember, the Super Bowl coming up, this all connects to the football, guys. Super Bowl 60 that's coming up is going to be in San Francisco. And San Francisco, is the team that plays there is the 49ers, which is connects to the gold rush. But what a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know, is that before there was the California gold rush, there was the Carolina gold rush. And this led to the creation of the Charlotte Mint. Look at this. So the Carolina gold rush led us to the creation of the Charlotte Mint, which is the first United States branch mint located in Charlotte. So this is all about the gold rush, and it also leads us to next year's Super Bowl, which I believe is going to culminate in some sort of ritual with the money culminating by next year around the Super Bowl. Because again, the gold rush connects from Charlotte. And if you read, a lot of the people, the gold rush miners from the Charlotte gold rush, Carolina gold rush, they went out west to California after that. And so now that we know that Carolina is connected to the gold rush like California, look at what game, and big shout out to my buddy Ball Don't Lie, who clued me onto this. Today, again, right after Trump meets with King Charles, right after all this Charlie Kirk stuff went down, all this Charles stuff, all the Charlotte stabbing, what's happening today, guys? The only game of today in the college football just happens to be the team from Charlotte. And not just any team from Charlotte. This team is called the Charlotte 49ers. And look at their symbol, guys. It's a pickaxe for mining gold. So today's only game is literally featuring Charlotte. So here we go again with the same monotonous riddle with Charlie, Charlotte, Charles, all the same. This all started really with the stabbing in Charlotte. And now today, again, as the Federal Reserve cuts rates yesterday, Trump meets with Charles, whose granddaughter's name is Charlotte. We get the Charlotte 49ers. Now, this connects to the gold rush because Trump has been promoting a golden age. Remember, Charlotte was the first mint branch for gold minting in the United States. And they had the first gold rush. Well, remember, I told you the Super Bowl this next year is going to be in San Francisco, which, when you think of San Francisco, you think of the 49ers. Okay, look at this. So this is perfectly connected. Today's game with the Charlotte College 49ers, right? So if we go, let's just do a quick date measurement. If we go from today, September 18th, 2025, to the Super Bowl, which will be in the 49ers Stadium. Again, today is the game that's being played is the Charlotte 49ers. We go forward from today to the Super Bowl. It's 143 days. Now, this is an important number because in gematria, Carolina equals 143. Again, Carolina, where Charlotte is. Today's 143 days before the Super Bowl. You have the Charlotte team from Carolina playing. But not only that, Carolina equals Federal Reserve. You see how Federal Reserve equals 143? Today is 143 days. The Federal Reserve connects to the money. Right? Now look at the gematria And let's think about this. The 14-3. Today is 143 days before the Super Bowl. In gematria, or in the alphabet, N is the, let me just type this out for you guys. N equals the 14th letter, and C equals the third letter. So NC, like North Carolina, it breaks down to 143. Okay. And again, today is the Charlotte team from North Carolina playing 143 days before the Super Bowl, where Federal Reserve equals 143. And so on top of that, but not only the initials of North Carolina equaling the 143, notice that, as I said, Carolina equals 143, and Federal Reserve. Well, the main point here is that this all connects to the Super Bowl. And the last final point that's really going to tuck this all away is, so remember, as I mentioned, this all started with the killing of the Ukrainian woman on the Charlotte subway, okay? And remember, after that, Charlie Kirk was talking about her murder, and then he got killed, okay? So what is the absolute odds that a rapper named Dababy releases a song about the subway attack in Charlotte? He released a song about it yesterday called "Save Me." Now, this is where no one should question anything anymore. This is the last and most important piece. Look at the name of Dababy, who released the song yesterday about Charlotte, and look where he's from, guys. He grew up in Charlotte. But look at his last name, guys. Kirk. The guy's name is Kirk. Charlie Kirk. Charles is Charlotte, form of Charlotte. Charlie Kirk dies after talking about the murder of the woman from Charlotte. And now the rapper from Charlotte, whose last name is Kirk, is making a video about the Charlotte killing. All on the same time that the Charlotte 49ers are playing in perfect connection to the Federal Reserve, which again equals 143. And look, today is the day that leaves 104 days in the year. And this takes us back to the gold rush. Gold rush equals 104. Well, the rapper who released the rapper with the name Kirk, and let's just look. So the baby's real name is actually Jonathan Kirk. So we just take his first and last name, Jonathan Kirk. Notice how it equals 75, right? Jonathan Kirk. That's the baby's real name, is Jonathan 192 and 75. Well, look, Charlie Kirk equals 192 and 75. You guys see now? Charlie Kirk equals Jonathan Kirk, and Jonathan Kirk is the baby, and he releases a song about the Charlotte killing. All while Charlotte is going to be the only game in the college football tonight. Right here, right? And don't forget, the guy who killed the woman, his name was DeCarlos, which is a form of Charles. So it just gets ridiculous. And then this is the final piece, talking about the gold rush. Yesterday, also in the news, was a 12-foot statue of Trump holding a Bitcoin, a golden statue, like a gold rush, holding a Bitcoin, right? Just as the Federal Reserve is cutting rates. A 12-foot golden Trump statue brandishing a Bitcoin just dropped outside the U.S. Capitol, and both politics and crypto Twitter are melting down. Funded by a band of crypto evangelists, this statue isn't just trolling Congress, it's a loud, shiny flex for crypto supremacy. Dropping the same day as the Fed's rate cut, the spectacle is pure financial meme warfare. Half tribute, half provocation. Critics say circus. Kirk circus, same etymology. People calling Trump the Bitcoin president, the gold rush, all this Charlotte stuff. Charlotte, the first place for the gold in the United States. This all leads to next year's Super Bowl where the 49ers play the gold rush. Okay. Now remember, Dababy is the name of the rapper who just released the Charlotte video, and he equals Charlie Kirk. But if you just use his stage name, Dababy, you get. Well, actually, I'm not sure I got that right. I can't remember what I was going to type in there. But the point is, today is the day leaving 104 days in the year, right? And Gold Rush equals 104. Gold Rush equals 104. Today is the day leaving 104 days in the year. All this stuff in the news about gold, Trump's gold statue, all this connecting to Charlotte where the original Gold Rush was. And again, it's all pretty clear. It's all pretty clear if you go back to the beginning and you understand where the Gold Rush started, right? And the fact that it's 143 days before, like I said, it goes back to North Carolina. NC ends the 14th letter, C is the third letter. Also, Carolina equals 143. Federal Reserve 143. So this is going to lead into, again, next year's Super Bowl. Whatever's going to happen between now and then is going to involve the currency, the gold, the crypto. That's why they're unveiling this gold statue. You know, that's just kind of how it all fits together, guys. And there's way more I could say here, but I just wanted to really touch on the main points, like how it all fits together, starting with the Charlotte stabbing, then the Charlie Kirk, and then we had the first millennial saint. Let's not forget this, guys. This is something I guess I shouldn't leave out. Carlo Acutis. In the midst of all this stuff, since the Charlotte stabbing, another event that happened was the first millennial saint to be canonized, and he was known because of his internet. He's the first patron saint of the internet, and he was canonized on September 7th by Pope Leo. In the midst of all this Charlie stuff, and Carlo means Charles. Carlo. It's all the same form, all the same name. But he's the first millennial saint because he was connected to the internet, and crypto is internet money. Okay. So all of this connects back to the same thing: internet money, internet gold, crypto with the gold Trump statue, with the Bitcoin, right? So that's the point, right? And then the obvious connections with Dababy being named Kirk. And like I said, he had an album actually called Kirk. Don't forget, Kirk means church. There's so much more I could say, but I just wanted to hit these main points for today and kind of just show you how this Charlotte stuff is continuing to play out. And yeah, today also, like I said, 104 days left in the year. He used to be known as, this is what it was. Dababy used to be known as Baby Jesus, which equals 104, like Gold Rush. Again, today leaving 104 days in the year. Today also has 72 date numerology, like money equals 72, like Bitcoin equals 72. So again, it's clear that this is the symbolism, and we'll see what happens tonight in this game between the Charlotte 49ers, right? The team that represents the gold rush. And I want you guys to understand too that the colors of the Charlotte 49ers are gold and green. And the colors of the San Francisco 49ers are red and green. We got Christmas connection, but we also have green and red. Green and red represents markets because green is going up and red is going down. So is this the initiation of a green moment for all of these markets heading into next year's Super Bowl when everything goes red after that? That's what I think. But we shall see how it plays out. And again, there's way more I could say. There's a lot more I could talk about, but let's just leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I appreciate you all. And if you guys enjoyed the stream, please hit the like button, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next decode. God bless.